think of 3 bullet points about yourself that shows your own unique skills or talents. What makes you unforgettable? And then draw a line under that on your paper or in your brain. And if you have a business idea, if you're an entrepreneur or if you are a business person, write the same thing. What makes your idea unique? Or your product? Or your company? Why is it so special? Nobody used the word awesome. Anyone utters the word awesome will be thrown out by Cody. Why did I say don't use the word awesome? What does awesome mean, though? It is a great word. I'm a writer. So maybe some of you read my stuff for the Huffington Post. I also write history and culture, things about behavior. I like this word very much. What does it mean?
Well, it means to inspire awe, to create a sense of wonder or something about whatever it is you're looking for. Perfection.
Okay, it could be perfection. Okay. What happens when I keep using a powerful word like this in every single situation, again and again? What happens to the value of that word?
Diluted.
Becomes diluted. Awesome. World War I and World War II were awesome events, right? God is awesome. Theseus and the Minotaur did awesome deeds. So when we use words like that, adjectives, we have to use adjectives to describe ourselves and our products and our companies, but don't overkill. Just like, why is the value of gold so high? There's only really one reason.
Supply and demand.
Huh?
Supply and demand.
Right, there's not enough around, it's rare. So the value goes up. Also for you, you and your talents are also rare. You have to sell it, but don't misuse it and don't overkill it. And don't use words like this, that this is a grand word in a grand language, and it's being killed and made to have no value anymore. Now, what's more important? The content of your business or the style of you? What do you think?
Style.
Okay.
He's a good reader.
You get a free cup of coffee. Okay, if you say that, why?
Well, I would actually put it more in terms of like the context of how you describe yourself versus what actually like feature set you have. So back to like the whole why and the value set that you hold versus, it's a TED Talk, but it's also, it's a well-known sales tactic where you lead with the why and the values and then you end with features and the content.
Okay, good. Chelsea?
Just to piggyback off of that, I think people believe in people. So if they don't believe in you, they're not going to believe in the content of what you're
Okay.
Style defines you individually against everybody else. Content can be the same.
Okay, right. How many
I think
people?
it depends
yes,
on the business. I actually disagree. I think you have to have the content to back up your style.
Yeah, you have to deliver. You can't just be all style.
Well, I think that the argument I think of it to go back to Chelsea and Jake's point is, for example, Dell, Apple, Gateway, they all have the same content. Really, it's all made out of the same pieces. They probably source from the same companies that are in China, but it's the way they're packaging, the way they're offering the product that really differentiates them from each other.
Right.
Why you buy Apple versus other
Right.
products.
How many people in the room have an app idea
App idea.
to make a computer app? Right. How many? Right. So what does a typical tech guy look like? What's the clothing of a typical tech guy who has a hot app idea? Can you stand up? Can you stand up? Right. Okay, now not good. So I went to this great event organized by the HotHouse, and it was wonderful. There was a lot of people with app ideas. They all looked like you guys and said, you have an app idea. Clone Nation. So when you dress this way, right, could you dress like me
Sure.
and say, I have an app idea?
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Why not? Okay. The question is, why do guys who are developing apps dress like that? Why?
It's the culture.
Yeah, what do you mean culture?
Well, it's the startup culture. I mean, when you like dress down, you dress how you want to dress, and you don't try to impress somebody else. And it's like just the startup dress. I mean, all the. I think
It's a clone uniform.
With laziness, it's a style.
laziness.
Not enough time to get ready with your programming?
Yeah, right.
These guys are not salespeople, but they work behind the desk to create anything that's like an app, for example.
Right.
So they don't really have to go in and put a suit on. They can work in a t-shirt and a jeans. So they're not a sales.
But when they come to an event and they're selling their product and they want me to buy it, it's them.
Right,
Right.
they
It's
can
not
show you.
just the
They can
content.
show you how the product look like, which is the ease of use. How
It's a
you could-
cue. It's a cue.
Right.
You're like, this is who I am, this is what I bring.
Right. So you're a clone. Now, do I want to buy a product from a clone? What do clones produce? Right,
Same thing.
they clone themselves. That's why they're clones. That's why they're members of Clone Nation. So even when we talk about style and content, think of your style. How do you want to dress? What's the impression you want to give? Especially if you guys are looking for funding from a venture capital. And you come in and he's like, okay, another tech guy with another app. He's going to be wearing t-shirts and a cap and tennis shoes. And he's going to be saying, this is not what do you got? Then what happens in your sales pitch, most people go to content. And then you start using words like that. And the venture capitalist is like, gee, you know, I hear this 10 times a day. All you guys are the same. So some of you are going to win it, and some of you are not going to win it. I don't believe that you're going to win it by being cloned. In fact, fight against Clone Nation. Use your lasers and your stun guns to kill the clones. Start with yourself. Get a suit. If you can't afford one, go to Goodwill. Women can work with their style more. They have more leeway, and people expect that. But women can do a lot with their looks too, and do it in a professional way.
So I guess a lot of young tech people look the same if they're wearing a t-shirt, but don't a lot of business people look like clones of each other if they're wearing suits and ties and things like that? I mean, how is that any different? Other than a more, as we would say, like professional image, but not necessarily perhaps unique.
Right, right. So what do you think of his question?
I agree.
I agree.
Right.
It's a different type of clone.
So if we were sitting in a room of suits, how would I be dressed?
T-shirt.
Probably. What would I be telling the suits?
Dress down.
Clones. Yeah. You all look the same. Chill out. Right. Suits.
But to see the ball is on the other
Be
court.
different.
Right.
Right.
Definitely.
Leave that out. So
Well,
listen to his branding statement. So yeah.
Well, there isn't much to say. I'm Roger Johnson from Paso Robles. I'm 30 years old and I'm just a process engineer. I studied in San Luis Obispo and my first job was at a small manufacturing plant in Santa Maria. Then I joined our company and I've been here ever since. At first, I worked with quality control and production, but 2 years ago I moved to the quality assurance department in headquarters.
Good. Now, is that an effective brand statement? Thank you. Why not?
Boring, monotone, negative,
Okay.
self-deprecating.
Hmm?
Self-deprecating.
Yeah.
Yes, right. When did I stop listening to him?
After well.
Just,
Huh?
Well, there is much to say.
No, even, well. What is well?
Let's see.
When you say well, you're talking about yourself.
Whoa.
Well is a word, it's like that, right? You're starting at a low. And what comes after that? Well, I'm awesome. Well, and then what he's really saying is, I'm not very special. I would say, thank you very much for the information. I'm not going to listen to you. I'm going to check emails on my smartphone. And I'll hear this low hum of your voice for a while. If you take the text, can you find his quality from his text? What are some quality points? I mean, anything?
Lori?
Hmm?
He's been employed.
Okay, he has a job, great, which some of you don't. So that's wonderful. What else?
He did study.
He went to an elite university.
And that doesn't say that.
Fantastic.
So,
He didn't say it, but he went to an elite university.
multiple positions.
Yeah, okay.
He's an engineer.
He's an engineer, excellent. You know, he's making good money, drives a BMW. We're trying to pull out the positive. Right.
Humble.
And what's the last point?
Headquarters.
He works at headquarters.
Moved up in the world.
Right, he's moving up. He's where the power is. The guy could be rather interesting. You know, what could he? You said he's humble. Or he's modest. So he's introducing himself, and he's saying, you know, I'm nothing special. I mean, I went to university, and yeah, you know, I study engineering. Are you going to buy his product? Are you going to continue listening to him? Are you going to be inspired or motivated by him?
Not if we don't buy
Especially if he wants something. He wants your money. He wants your investment. He wants you to buy his app that he thought of. Now the question is, why are people humble? The very same people who use outrageous vocabulary like that also, in the same sentence, sell themselves as humble. Why do people do that? Why, in Clone Nation, why do people not want to be different?
It takes courage to be different. So, you know, maybe there's a lack of that.
Yeah, against like society, right? To be something, to step out of the group. Right.
Maybe sometimes we think that the opposite of humble is arrogant.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
So
Is that true?
You know,
If you're not humble, are you automatically arrogant?
No, it's just
Someone's always going to be different. One answer in Clone Nation. Right, so a lot of people are afraid of appearing arrogant by talking positively about themselves, which is ironic, isn't it? That's why I tell people, don't do that. Let's think of the high-tech world. Steve Jobs, was he a modest person? Did he have a strong brand? Why did he have such a strong brand? Why are we still reading about him? His name is still everywhere.
He didn't care what anybody thought.
Yes, in a way, right. Okay, what else?
He knew about himself and his product so well, and he delivered it in a way that's easy to use, and that was his uniqueness, and that's what the product shows up to now.
Mm-hmm, right.
Confidence.
Yes. Even though maybe there was insecurity in there, maybe there was a core. We don't know. We're talking about the image that we know of the man, right? What happened to Apple stocks after he died? Why?
He was the brand.
He wasn't designing all this stuff. In fact, Apple's not even designing a lot of it. They buy good ideas, maybe from what you guys have. Apple will buy your idea, and they're really good at marketing it. So what was the link that Steve Jobs dies and the company's stock falls?
He was the brand of the company. The product was him.
Right. Yeah. Right. It was intimately linked, and they can't find another person to do that. Right? It's impossible. It's like the Beatles without John Lennon. You can't get a guy with a bobbed haircut. It's not going to work. How would you describe Apple products? So would you describe Apple products as humble and modest? I think we're talking about the design, the look of it, right? Is that a humble and modest product?
I think they're simple to use, easy to use for the customer's point of view. But I wouldn't say that they are humble. I mean, they stand out, they deliver.
They're totally different,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Right. How did Steve Jobs often describe his products? He used one word a lot: elegant, classy. Now you can start thinking intellectually. My job is to open your mind, right? To start thinking about these things. If everyone's doing that, you're not being different. If you're not being different, maybe you're not going to sell yourself or your product in the most effective way. Being different, often people say, hey, you're getting arrogant. And then nobody wants to be arrogant, so then we go back into being modest or humble. And then we lose the strain that was linking us to our products. We do have different products. And so why not say that? Why do you have to sell yourself like this guy Roger did? Saying, I'm not different, I'm not different, I'm not different. It's like, okay, you're not different, go away. I'm not interested. Especially in the business world where people don't have time. And especially where people are all hyper-connected and they're listening to you, getting emails coming in, checking out text messages, people coming in and out of rooms. They know they have another meeting in 15 minutes. And so you have to use the time to sell yourself effectively. Yeah, let's talk about how we began the talk today. What are some of the bullet points you wrote down describing yourself?
I did something called Strength Finders, which comes up with a list of what your strengths are. And for me, it was futuristic, learner, and maximizer.
Okay, but you approached that, instead of saying, I am futuristic, you approached it in a humble way. I did a program called Strength Finders, and that program identified, you see what I'm saying? So you're not talking about yourself, I'm an excellent whatever. You're saying this, according to this book, I'm futuristic. But I didn't say it because I'm a humble person. But when you're selling yourself, say, I am futuristic. Okay, that's cool. Others?
Gifted problem solver.
Gifted problem solver, that's good. Is he an arrogant bastard? Actually, he is. No, gifted problem solver. Good, I'm looking for a problem solver. I'm happy you're gifted, okay. He has to deliver now, right? I'll give him a problem to work on. Okay.
Said, I'm outgoing and I love people, interacting with people.
Okay,
Passionate about what I do and I have positive energy.
Okay, good. Positive energy, good. More?
I'm damn funny.
And he proved it.
Just look at the way he's dressed. That's really good, and it's a wonderful thing to say is I have an excellent sense of humor, which
I guess that's a nice
employers love people with a sense of humor. So when I do career coaching, I'm working on people with their CVs and cover letters and things. I say, put in that you have an excellent sense of humor. And really good job descriptions say in the points that they want, the experience and everything, must have a sense of humor. So,
circling back to the original question, all these attributes, do those really make you special and unique when 30% of people have good sense of humor?
What do you mean?
10%
I mean,
of
well,
people
we all
are
share.
futurists, so is that a special and unique? Does that make you special and unique, or that just
No, but
categorizes
you're saying it. Like a lot of us in this room, like you just said, 30% of us, not me, have a good sense of humor. But he said it. He described himself that way. He decided to use that as his first bullet point. That makes him unique in his own way. He decided to say, I'm a futurist. How many futurists, how many people are future-oriented in the room? Yeah, I think a lot of us. A lot of us. But he decided to say, I am. That's the key, to say, I am. What I'm saying, open your mind to your own self. Be consciously aware of your own talents and qualities. Not only be aware of them, announce them to people. When you announce them, know that you're not being arrogant. That you don't have to have something like this blocking you to announce it. And finally, deliver. So when I hire you for my company and something goes wrong and you flip out, I'd say, where's your sense of humor? Put it on your CV. You're fired. Laugh about that. What about if you described your company, what are the bullet points, or your product?
I said I create spaces for people to grow in whatever way they want. I'm passionate about repurposing and creating unique functional art. My business has positive energy around it.
Okay, nice.
Classy music school.
Okay, good. Is the classy, do you guys like classy? What does that mean? Classy music school. Ori? Huh? Maybe?
Classical music.
Right. I'm thinking classical music. I don't know if that's what you mean. Right.
Yeah, I think like classy, like upscale. Yeah.
Upscale, yeah.
Right, then, so you be careful of the adjectives you use and make sure you understand it. Also, that's why you have to work with a partner or a coach or something like that to get these words right. So all of you guys are entrepreneurs or startups or business people. Anyone in the room who doesn't deliver quality? It's like, my company sucks. Anyone who's not consistent? Sometimes I do great work, and sometimes I offend everybody. I don't know. It depends, how I feel. You want to work with me?
No, that's a really important, the consistency. I mean, so how do you stay consistent with your messaging and because, people have ebbs and flows, they feel different ways, whether they have coffee or not. And how do you maintain that high level of consistency in messaging?
Right. Are you ever not consistent in your work? Are you ever bad?
Well, I mean, of course, we're human. Human nature is to not be always completely on your game, but you have to have your vision. You have to have your pitch, who you are, what your company needs.
Is your passion consistent?
There's different levels, you're absolutely correct.
Yeah, but it's a range, but basically you have it or you don't, right? So does Apple in its sales model, does it say we are consistent? No. Are they consistent?
Yes.
Right, you just buy blindly Apple products because you know that it always is quality. Stunned if it's not. So if you are indeed consistent, which is not a very sexy thing to say, I think the customer expects that, right? They expect quality, they expect some type of professional consistency out of it. Any of you guys back there have any adjectives for your product?
Innovative?
Innovative, okay. Now, in the high-tech or app world, is innovative, is that a winning slogan or motto? Why? Why? Huh?
Well, everybody thinks he or she is innovative, and
Right.
it's like awesome. It just gets used all the time.
Right, right. So your challenge is, especially if you have a tech product, find another word than innovative, which is hard. Huh?
I like disruptive.
Disruptive, that's a cool word, right. Right. Try to approach it in a completely different way.
Does it depend on the cultural environment you're in? Because I think, for example, you have a European background. I can totally relate to that because I do too. But it can be very shocking to a U.S. audience because we have a different parameters that you were raised with that come across very differently maybe in a different culture.
Right, right. So when we talk about this type of branding, which is your own personal brand and your style, your own personal design, not just your products, but you, because you are your product, into that mix is your own mindset, your own attitude, your upbringing, your take on life, also your culture. So maybe you are from a modest culture, like in India or Asia. Northern Europeans are very modest. I was coaching a guy, a businessman, entrepreneur from Vietnam, and we're trying to make his brand statement, and he said, I can never say I'm excellent. And I said, well, why not? He said, because my grandmother will hit me on the head. Because in his family, it's like, look, boy, there's 7 billion people on the world. You can't just say you're arrogant. You can't be arrogant and say that you're excellent. Be humble. Your grandfather's listening to you. Your father works, all these things, and so it's a societal and family pressure or even limitation. But when I work with people like that, they can't, in this global marketplace, especially in the high-tech industry, the competition is so fierce, or for we writers, to get a publisher, to get an agent, it's brutal competition. The game doesn't go to the ones who are modest. So this Vietnamese guy said, you can't afford to let your mom or your grandma determine your branding to a global audience. You can't do it. You have to sell yourself some way. So then find ways, if you don't want to say I'm an excellent whatever, find other words that are acceptable for you to give you the quality. So, or to give us the quality standard. Teacher? Oh, boring. I hate teachers. Educator? Oh, educator. Superior educator? Oh, okay. He's telling me experienced, broadly experienced educator. He's giving me quality levels. So I know, okay, I work in excellence. I like to work with excellent people. He's telling me, he's giving me information about himself. He's not just good. Like you said, damn, you're damn funny. That's a great adjective. Give those adjectives to give color to your own personal brand. In that way, you can make yourself unforgettable. So what's easier, talking about yourself or talking about your product?
Product.
Yeah, why?
You can brag about it.
Okay, right. Why?
It's okay to brag about your product.
Right. So my question is, why can't you talk positively about yourself? It doesn't have to be brag, because bragging has negative connotations. Why can't you talk positively about yourself?
I think your product kind of puts a shield between you and your audience, whoever you're speaking to, because it's kind of inferred, like, well, if you have an awesome product, you must be pretty awesomely creative or, forward thinking. So
Right.
having the product there kind of just puts the responsibility on that.
Right.
Doing it with yourself, it's more of a direct relationship.
Right, that's a great image. Why, as a businessman, would I put a shield between me and my potential customer? Are you going to approach me now? Give me a hug? Right? Why would I do that?
When you connect with someone that way, you become vulnerable in a way. You're opening up to someone.
That's right,
Especially
yes.
when you talk about feelings.
That's right.
So you're just going to open up.
Right.
You
But
said,
every relationship we do, we're opening up, we're vulnerable. In my profession, I put myself in vulnerable situations. By standing up, I don't know how I'm going to be accepted or rejected by the group. I have an interactive style. I don't know what people are going to say to me. So yes, my shield is down, and I open myself up. What happens when I open myself up?
Vulnerable.
Vulnerable. Yes. Okay. But what makes what becomes possible now? I open myself up. I could have a non-interactive style. I could just be lecturing. I could have had a PowerPoint. So for you in the audience, what does that mean?
Connection.
Right. I can connect. Right. So just like when we fall in love, every time you're in love, you're in a vulnerable situation because you might get hurt. But you're opening up. You're never going to experience the love if you don't put down the shield. Now, one other point connected to this, will your product sell itself?
No.
It's just such a hot idea. It's such a great play. It's such a fantastic app. It's a great parts, car parts. Can you just say, there it is, there's the price?
Yeah.
Give me a call.
Sometimes.
Can you think of a thing where...
Any, an app, you don't know, you often don't know who, yeah.
It's like a point of critical mass, I think, that you can do that.
Yeah, right. Right.
But at the initial, to get it out there, you need to sell it. You need to get somebody to say, that's awesome, that's awesome.
Right.
And then get the next person. And eventually it'll have an effect where people will sell for you.
Right.
If it is indeed great.
Talking about taking, some of you people are business people here, take it up to the next level. Can you have the shield between you and your audience, between you and your potential customers? Does it even make sense to have a shield? It's much more effective, and when we think about the greatest brands, we link it with the person and with the personality. And then when we talk about others, we'll say, oh, you know, Kurt Cobain was a great songwriter. Excellent, original, innovative guitarist. He had the hottest band on the West Coast. Then we use all these adjectives to describe it. You gotta listen to this song. It's fantastic. So we can, if we can do that about others, and we can do it about our product, you can also do it about yourself, just to give people some idea, okay, he's a quality person. He has skills and talents and know-how at this quality level. He just told me, good. I will test it when we work together and see if you can deliver. If you're not, you're out. I'll never ever trust you again. And I'll tell people about you that you're a bullshitter. So if you don't deliver, you're going to be, you know, destroyed by word of mouth.
Where would you exercise your personal brand like you're talking about? I can see like in a resume, but where else would you use it?
Good question.
Okay, where do you, if you work with me, okay, you do resume, cover letter, right? What else? Where can you put your brand out there, your branding statement? Social media, LinkedIn, absolutely. Everyone checks out everybody on LinkedIn.
Everywhere you advertise.
Yeah.
Right.
Website. Video.
Right.
Sales.
Yeah, every time you open your mouth, every time you go and speak, you're always branding yourself. And so if you say, I don't brand myself, that's your brand. So it can be a negative brand or not. Also, every time you're speaking or communicating with other people, they're reading the information that you're sending out. They're branding. If you don't stamp their brand, your brand into their brains, they are going to brand you. So Steve Jobs was an extremely difficult person. People who worked with him hated him. He was a dictator, he was authoritarian, he was a jerk. But our brand about him is extremely positive, too. Right? We like him. We want to read about him. We watch him on YouTube speaking. We admire him. So that guy was a very, very effective brander of himself, personal brander. And that's absolutely linked to the success of his company. He took Apple up to this higher level. And then you could see it when he got kicked out and then he came back. And when he came back with his powerful ego and his own sense of himself, he lifted the company up into the atmosphere. So that shows the power of the brand. You brand yourself everywhere. In a phone call, you have to brand yourself. So branding, every time you speak to a customer or a venture capitalist or to a group, you're branding yourself. Be consciously aware all times of what you're saying and how you are branding yourself. That's why I say you don't have to be modest about this. It's not connected with being arrogant. And don't use cliches that everyone uses, which means automatically you're not different and you're not unique. And the last point is you are your brand. You are your company. Every time you're out there selling your idea, you're also selling yourself. Be consciously aware of that. Use your own brand as a tool. So you know my name, Michael. You know that I'm a career coach, public speaker, writer for the Huffington Post and other journals, educator as well. I'm also a fantastic international cook. And I deliver by having a team-building cooking seminar to bring people together and to eat well. And I'm here to work with you. If you want to coach, if you want to work on your personal brand, if it's a blurb on LinkedIn or it's your CV or selling your product, I'm your tool. Send me an email. Any other questions or observations or statements? Okay, thank you very much. Please be sure to